Hey everybody, this is Rebel Builder and I am back with a new MOC. If you're not familiar with this ship, this is the First Order TIE Bomber. This first made its appearance in the Star Wars Allegiance comic and then also made an appearance in Season 2 of Star Wars Resistance. Now I know I said I was done building TIE Fighter MOCs, but when I saw this one, this ship just captured my imagination. Now that's a big part of building MOCs, you gotta get almost obsessed with it. But for me, this ship just grabbed my attention. I really love the combination of nods to the original trilogy TIE Bomber, but also the difference of folding the wings to the outside that just created a really unique shape. And as soon as I saw this one, I knew I had to build it. Now let me start off by saying, if you're interested in building this ship, I do have instructions available. There's a link down in the description where you can go get the PDF instructions as well as a parts list that you can create a wanted list on Bricklink. You can order all the parts you need. Now this ship comes in at 1,567 parts. This is my biggest MOC as far as piece count goes. So this one is going to be a bit more expensive, but on this one, I think I just used a lot of smaller parts. I used a lot of tiles. I was really just going for that look of creating a smooth, streamlined ship. Now here is just to give you a good size comparison. This is the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter that we're all very familiar with. So you can see, this ship is quite a bit bulkier, quite a bit larger compared to just the standard TIE Fighter. Okay, let's start by talking about the middle section here. Like the original trilogy TIE Bomber, the pilot sits on this side, and I assume this is for the bombing section mechanism and stuff. Now, I'm part of the online LEGO community. I know what other builders are doing, and I like to think we're all working together to kind of advance MOC building. Now, obviously through here, with these quarter dome pieces, I have taken a nod from Jarek. He's excellent at building TIE fighters. I worked through a lot of different alternatives here. I think I had 3 or 4 concepts going, and once I put in these quarter dome pieces, that was just the way it had to be. I wasn't deliberately going out to copy Jarek and his designs, but this is just the one that made the most sense. Now, one of the most challenging aspects of a build like this was coming up with source material. Now, I had a couple of images from the comic, and then there was one good image I found online, and then I just took some screenshots from the TV show. There were really some good images of it on Star Wars Resistance, and that's really all I had to go on as far as size and things like that. So really I kind of started by judging the size of the cockpit and kind of worked out from there, and I think I got pretty close. So it was a lot of trial and error to come up with the size here, and also the size of the wings. And even as I got close to the end, I was still adjusting the width of the whole ship. It's one of those things that you have to kind of put it all together and then, kind of hold it up in your hand and see if it looks right. I thought I was done and actually ended up having to take a stud out of each side. It just wasn't right here. So one thing I did that I really like how I did this is this ship is symmetrical on either side, and it's also symmetrical on the bottom almost. It's not 100% the same design, but it's just about. So what I was able to do is once I settled on the width here, I was able to concentrate on just building one side. I worked out the geometry with these quarter dome pieces and then these curved slopes back here, did some greebling, and once I got this section down, then I was able to just repeat it over here and then also repeat it 2 times on the bottom with some minor changes. So for these top sections here, I have these hatches that pull up. I have these little bars that kind of work as handles. Now I tried to work out some sort of hinge system, but I just couldn't find room where I can make that work and fit in and not sacrifice a piece of geometry. But I think that actually worked out well. You can see here, this is the bombing pod. I kind of toyed with coming up with some detailing here, but I don't really display my MOCs with details showing like that, so I didn't do much in there, and it's open. You could really design this to have another pilot in there, but you can see here I have the pilot, the TIE Fighter pilot, sitting in here, And let's take a closer look at that section. Now here's a better look at the cockpit. You can see there's some, display panels around here, and then a control yoke system here. Kind of worked out a 2-handle system there, just trying to get some detail going. He could sit a little further to have a better view at the windshield there, but I think his position works pretty good, that you're still able to get to him, put him in there, without taking this whole section apart. For the middle section here, this was just a greebling section that I was just kind of improvising. I didn't really have good clear details on. I like these beams I put across here, these 4 long lightsaber blades. But one thing I did as a nod to my original trilogy TIE Bomber is I made this section 3 studs wide. So the overall width of the whole ship is actually an odd number. Now that posed a design challenge, but there was something I wanted to hold, and when you look at the images and the source material, that really created the right looking geometry for the whole ship. Now for these wing connections here, again, I didn't have good detail, good source material, so I just kind of went a little crazy doing some greebling. I got some, some bars and ingot pieces and slopes, but really I like how that all came together. And this piece here, I'm not sure what that's called, but that kind of hides one of these hinge pieces like up here. So again, that's one of those kind of happy accidents that everything really kind of worked out geometry-wise. And here's a look at the back of the ship. Main engines are here, and I assume these are engines here too. And again, not much source material, just trying to do different greebles and kind of hiding how this section kind of merges in with these quarter domes. So you can see I got some wedge plates up here. I like how this whole section turned out. It's hard to see, but there is a row of transparent red through here, which you can see in the TV show that does glow, so that acts as an engine too. Now here's a look at the bottom of the ship. You can see generally it has the same shape, the same quarter domes here, curved slopes, but these sections are connected. They don't lift out like the top sections do. I went a little easier here on greebling on the sides, but you can see here I have these built-in landing gears, just some light bluish gray, just trying to come up with some detail. Because the ship is too heavy to support itself on the wing sections, that's something I wanted to try to do, but really I couldn't come up with a strong enough hinge system to support the weight of this thing in its 1,500 parts. Now let's take a look at the wing section here. Now this was the first thing I got done. I've talked about in my other builds that, there's always like a moment where you kind of get the first section done and you get excited and it propels you on to build the rest of the ship. Now if you see some of the source material, you can actually see the solar panel sections here actually have like a gridded section. And so when I laid this out with the wedge plates and then just really going to town on 2x2 tiles, this looked like that image, and I said, yes, this looks different than what I've done before. It's a smooth, tiled look, but it looks like the source material. So that's the part that really got me excited. Now up here, this would be the stud side, and under here is the anti-stud. So I have the tiled sides showing both on top, so this is actually the exact same build as this down here, and kind of the same thing happening over here. So if you pick it up, you can see it's less attractive underneath, with the anti-studs, but you really don't see it too much. Now, as far as the ship's design goes, I really like just the geometry of the wing sections here and how this middle section is a little wider than I'm used to, but it's also longer. There's also some reminiscence here to some of those Kylo Ren TIE Fighter prototypes, that I worked on before The Last Jedi came out. I feel like this has some shared DNA with those ships, and I really like this design here. Now here's a lower profile view so that we can take a look at the side panel section here. I really like what I did. I've got some grill tiles going through here, different curved slopes and tiles, and of course this 2x2 round tile that is a nod to the other first order TIE fighters. But using these different pieces, these are all small pieces, so there's no like big plate through this section. It makes it a little flimsy, but really once it's all put together and hooked together, the ship is very strong, very swooshable. You can pick it up, you can shake it. It's sturdy enough, but it made for some complicated building techniques. One section I really worked and reworked quite a bit was these cannons here. I've got the little cannon here, you know, and these are just different Technic connectors, but coming up with the right, you know, combination of Technic pieces and size, you know, really had me digging through my Technic bin for quite a while. Now this section here, you know, this would be the anti-stud side. So what I have here, these are all those inverted 2x2 tiles. You know, that's kind of a newer piece. But that really gave the whole section, you know, a good completed look. I really like how that turned out, you know, and just trying to add more detail here, different pieces. You know, I've got, you know, a tile here and then this built up section. But really, you know, I'm just trying to make up some greebling to give it some more detail. All right, that's gonna do it. I hope you like taking a look at my first order TIE Bomber MOC. I really like this ship. I really like how it turned out. I hope you did too. Now, if you like what I do, you know, a thumbs up on this video would be appreciated. And if you don't already, please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You know, Instagram's probably the best place to, you know, catch up on what builds I'm doing, some behind the scenes and, you know, little previews of my future MOCs. And of course, if you want to pick up the instructions to this, the link to the PDF instructions and parts list is down below in the description. Other than that, thanks everybody for watching. I'll be back soon.